Now, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, we're here because the May unemployment report is out, and unemployment came in at 8.2%, and underemployment came in at 14.8%. Now, what do you think about these numbers?
They're pretty high, I guess, overall. It depends. I mean, how many people are educated versus how many people aren't? Wouldn't that have anything to affect?
Now, in some of the areas where employment increased in 3 different places, healthcare, transportation, and warehousing, but it's down in construction. Can we continue hiring more people to transport and warehouse goods if we have no new construction?
I guess not, but mostly all this stuff ends up focusing more on the engineering and electronical side for like the more new technology, I guess.
Now, we're here at a convention today, and now teen unemployment is at 24.6%, plus the high level of national debt and the large number of older workers needing health care. What will happen to the very young and very old due to this debt?
No health care?
No health care. Yeah, seeing Obama's health care thing's due to pass pretty soon. Is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the beans throughout the galaxy?
Not really. I'm pretty good.
Okay, so in closing, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, the May unemployment report is out, and unemployment came in at 8.2%, yet underemployment came in at 14.8%. What do you think about these numbers that we currently have?
Honestly, I think unemployment's just gonna keep rising, because if we're not building anything new, then sure, those people will have jobs, they're building it, but if there's nothing being built, then there's going to be no more jobs, obviously. And this coming up election, I have really no hope for.
It wasn't hope the last candidate's political thing? He was always talking about hope?
Yeah, that's just a bunch of, they say they're going to do something, but then right when they're elected, they just do whatever the hell they actually want.
Well, it's interesting you talk about building and construction. There was increases in employment in healthcare, transportation, and warehousing, but construction is down. Can we continue hiring people to move and transport and warehouse things even though there's no new construction?
I don't think so, because you kind of need an equal amount of employees for both, and there'd be nowhere to transport those goods anyways if there's no new buildings to supply them at.
Now, teenagers have the highest unemployment throughout the galaxy at 24.6, plus the high levels of national debt. With the large number of older workers needing health care, what will happen to the very young and the very old due to this national debt?
Honestly, I'm unemployed as well. I'm 19.
So you're some of this 24%.
Yeah. So I'm still looking at, it'll probably just keep rising, unemployment, because especially for teenagers, from my experience, no one wants to hire a teenager, even if you have had experience in the past, just because you're a teenager, pretty much. They just think that you can't really do the job right. And as for from the elderly, I'm just sure because of all the health care, that's just going to keep rising. And
now, I know many young people nowadays are considering starting their own business. Is that something you considered starting?
It'd be nice, but it's not really a rational idea. I can't, yeah.
In closing, is there any last minute things you want to say to the folks throughout the galaxy?
I guess that's it.
Okay, so in closing, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network, signing out. Now, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network, and the May unemployment report is out, and unemployment came in at 8.2%, yet underemployment is at 14.8%. What do you think about that?
I think it sucks because a lot of people are looking for jobs, but we're starting to go into a recession. It's really hard.
Now, what do you think of the current numbers we're in?
Well, I think it is really ridiculous. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I can't hear you. I can see you talking. I can't hear you, but I can
barely hear you guys.
Okay.
That's why I said let him do all the talking.
Okay, no problem. Okay, are we still inside? Yes. Now, employment increased in 3 areas: healthcare, transportation, and warehousing, but is down in construction. Can we continue hiring more people for transportation and warehousing if we're not building any new goods?
No, not if it's not doing any good. If you're not building stuff that people need, then what's the point?
Okay. Now, what do you think of that?
I agree with what he says 100%.
Now, teenage unemployment is the highest throughout the galaxy at 24.6%. Plus the high levels of national debt, with the large number of older workers needing health care, what will happen to the very young and the very old due to this debt?
They're going to suffer for it.
And you?
Well, you know what? I go with him.
Okay. So in closing, is there any last minute things you want to say to the folks throughout the galaxy?
Daft Punk all day.
Have fun. Alright, so in closing, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, the May unemployment report is out and unemployment came in at 8.2%, yet underemployment is at 14.8%. What do you think of these current numbers that we're in?
I think that the basic current numbers from our economy that we have with the national government and the federal government, and what they're doing is they're not really deciding on any type of bills to be passed, and because of that, we're not going to be getting anything done because of the baby boomer issues. Is that they've been constantly abusing resources, is it's leaving to the other generations to figure out what to do from now on. So the basis of the actual national debt that we have is going to keep rising and rising unless we do something to even it out, which is going to be really terrible, because we're going to have to tax, and tax, despite the fact that the more cuts you do in this type of situation is bad based on the economy itself. The more we cut, the less people are more likely to do things. So that's my opinion based on that.
Now, there was increases in employment in 3 areas: healthcare, transportation, and warehousing, but it is down in construction. Can we continue hiring more people in transportation and warehouse goods if there is no new construction?
No, we cannot, because everything currently is getting outsourced. I do believe I did hear a story once where there was actually a company that it was in Detroit where their entire company faltered, so people from China actually came over and they took all of the parts and they rebuilt it. So construction is going to be slowly to a decline because we just can't keep building because we won't have the resources or money to.
I'm just looking, it seems like we're kind of off center. Teenage unemployment is at the highest in the galaxy at 24.6%. Plus the high levels of national debt, with the large number of older workers needing health care. What will happen to the very young and the very old due to this national debt?
The very old are going to get their benefits, but the very young, we're not going to be getting any type of retirement fees as much as the older generations have did. So it's going to be very harder for us to retire, and we're probably going to be working until way later. That's pretty much the basis of it.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the folks who want the galaxy?
Yeah. YOLO!
YOLO! So in closing, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Okay, the May unemployment report is out and unemployment came in at 8.2%. Yet underemployment at 14.8%. What do you think of the current numbers that we have in this galaxy of unemployment?
I don't really like it. I think that it would be it'd be better if those were lower. I mean, I have a lot of friends who struggle to get jobs, and currently there isn't anything out there.
Now, there were increases in employment in 3 areas: healthcare, transportation, and warehousing, but construction is down. Can we continue to hire people in construction, transportation, and warehousing if there's no new construction?
How is it going?
Probably not. I mean, how you doing? If you're not,
you know anything about Park?
I mean, with the real estate market being rather bad, there isn't much motivation to build new housing and new facilities for businesses to start up or expand, and so it's really hard for any sort of jobs to become available if construction isn't growing. If that makes any sense.
No, that's what. Now, teenagers have the highest unemployment throughout the galaxy at 24.6%, plus the high levels of national debt. With the large number of older workers out there, what will happen to the very young and the very old due to this high levels of national debt?
Well, unfortunately, nobody wants to hire somebody who's inexperienced. Business owners want to hire somebody that they can count on, and the very young and the very old, just in terms of from an employer, just aren't valuable. And because of such low unemployment, you have people who are experienced that are willing to take pretty much any job they can get at whatever rate they can get so that they can get by. And so I think if our current unemployment is going to suffer as it is, the people who are going to suffer primarily are going to be the young and the old.
Okay, so in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the folks who want the galaxy?
As a small business owner who is currently trying to make his way in this terrible economy, don't give up, keep on trying, and good luck to you.
Okay, so in closing, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network, signing out.